Thanks for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. Every dayers tomorrow on this show, Chris Childers from SiriusXM will be joining us talking about a lot of stuff. The gambling stuff probably is going to come up. We're going to talk about preseason expectations for Ole Miss and the SEC in a general. That is Chris Childers from SiriusXM is going to be on the program tomorrow. Now, we've been doing our post-spring report cards. And, it's really interesting about what's going on. But the safety position is up next. And the safety position is the one I have the most questions for. Now, there's some answers there, but there's questions. And the questions results from the fact that Ole Miss has run 6 defensive backs for the better part of 2 years. So some of those safeties that are listed as a safety is not really going to be a fit for this defense. Now, I have not laid eyes on them in this system. So the questions that I have, we're going to have to wait until the fall to have them answered. But players like Isheem Young, Ladarius Tennyson, I get a little bit nervous because these guys are true box safeties. They were brought in to play close to the line of scrimmage. If they play safety for Ole Miss, they are going to be a Husky candidate, and that's the reason I said, hold the horses a little bit for Suntarian Perkins. Isheem Young and Ladarius Tennyson, they're excellent physical players who are great run stoppers. That's why they were brought in, to stop the run. But pass coverage-wise, they're not necessarily a minus coverage team, but that's not why they were brought in. So whenever you're playing a Husky, a strong safety, and a free safety, those strong safety and free safety, that becomes a little bit difficult because you do want people that can cover down the field. Now, you do have John Saunders, who's a slash position, slash corner, and safety. He's been playing a lot of safety, so you could see him back at free safety. Now, you have Trey Washington, who backed up Otis Reese pretty consistently last year and played pretty well. So those two I feel pretty good about, John Saunders and Trey Washington. But I have questions about the Husky position, Isheem and Ladarius Tennyson. I need to see this. I need proof of concept of them in this defense. And I want to see how Taylor Groves does. He's somebody I've been excited about for multiple years at this point. I want to see him get on the field and make an impact as well. Now, there's a couple of players that you probably need to know about as well. Nick Cole out of Georgia. Defensive back. He's 5'11", 175. He was brought in almost as a Tysheem Johnson. He was brought in the last defense. We'll see how he adjusts in the fall to this defense. And A.J. Brown, which I hate calling him A.J. Brown because of obvious reasons. But A.J. Brown's his name, so we will call him A.J. Brown. He is a true freshman that enrolled early, and in the spring, he was the defensive player that was popping of the freshman class that we were hearing about. He was doing on the defensive side of the ball the same thing that Chris Marshall was doing on the offensive side of the ball. So it'll be interesting to see A.J.'s development into the fall. Now, numbers are there, as we just read off information. There's 2 positions, 3 positions, and there's a legit 2 deep already in play, plus players that are going to come in and try and make an impact. So we will see exactly what they do and how this gets handled. I'm just saying there's a ton of questions at this position. Probably might be a ton of answers, but there's a ton of questions as well. And knowing that, understanding what is going on, will kind of make the defense a little bit more well-rounded. Like I said, players like Suntarian Perkins have a chance to come in, make an immediate impact, and affect the outlook of this defense. It's why these magazines like Athlon's and Lindy's, and I love them as much as anybody, and we're going to do shows about the Ole Miss section in both of them. But I think it needs to be known that they don't know the answers to these questions either. They're all assuming. I'm going to change the subject just a little bit here before we get out of here and go to Derek in the next segment. But the people that do these magazines, They're more responsible for blue bloods than anybody else in the country. They just guess. They just have to guess because the answers to the questions that they are asking, they're not available. So they're assuming the answer. And as we all know what happens when you assume. But defensively, we all have questions. You're going to hear questions in these magazines about Ole Miss's defense. They don't know the answer. I don't know the answer. You don't know the answer. It's all a matter of trying to just project what's going to happen because there has been no play on the field that we can judge off of. We have not seen any full speed 11-on-11 action. We saw the spring game that was thud, but no real action. We have not seen players like Sunterian Perkins line up for this Ole Miss defense. We have not seen if A.J. Brown can take a step defensively at safety. Will Trey Washington develop into a serious, strong safety position? Will John Saunders, is he playing cornerback? Is he playing free safety? I do not know. But those are questions that need to be answered. And the sooner they're answered, the sooner this defense can go. Because this season, and I've said this multiple times before, this season is about maximizing for 2024. You want to put yourself in the position to be in the best position at the beginning of 2024. And that is starting now. If you wait until 2024 to play catch up, you're already starting in a hole. I'm telling you, when Texas and Oklahoma come into this conference, it's going to be a different animal, especially at a school like Ole Miss. You need to be in the best shape you can possibly be in, and you can't afford to yo-yo and go back. Because Ole Miss historically has been an ultimate yo-yo type town or type school. Ups and downs and ups and downs. So we'll see exactly what goes on. In the next segment, we'll have Derek Vandy Griff, and he'll talk about the weekend series against Auburn. He'll have a rundown of Rebels in the minor leagues. And, of course, we'll talk about Calvin Harris and his bomb party last Saturday. So stick around.